They are the cutting edge. The highest tech race cars in the world. The Audi R8s have been all-conquering, winners of 14 straight major road races. But in Portland, the Panoz LMP1 Roadster, ancient by racing standards, would be the standard of excellence this day. The streak is gone. Now the American Le Mans Series hauls north of the border. And the questions: can Audi regain their dominance? Or can Panoz make more magic? Who will drive off into the sunset when this day is done? NBC Sports presents the Gran Turismo 3 Grand Prix at Mosport. Welcome to Ontario, Canada, just north of the town of Bowmanville. Ready for the 5th round of the 2001 American Le Mans Series here on NBC Sports. Today it is the GT3 Grand Prix at Mosport. Mosport International Raceway is where we are. We've had a couple of lovely days weather-wise. Today, though, mostly rainy, only 64 degrees. Our ceiling's pretty low. Winds are from the northwest at 8 miles an hour. Huge crowd of fans on hand here north of the border to enjoy these wild prototypes and GT machines. My colleague Bill Adam took us for a ride around Mosport here yesterday. Let's take a look.
Just under 2.5 miles in length, 10 turns make up Mosport in what might be the ultimate high-speed roller coaster. As we cross the start-finish line, we're already at 140 miles an hour going down into turn 1. A long, fast corner, bend it in, and squeeze on power. Now up ahead, the world seems to disappear. This corner is the world-famous turn 2. Look at this double apex. The car comes out over 2G's cornering force, and a very short turn 3 coming up here. Bend the car in, squeeze power on, and try and pick what side do you want to go by up ahead. Look at that BMW. Let's try going to the right. Flat out over the crest of the hill, 160 miles an hour right here, and down into Moss Corner. This is what they call a hairpin, really a double apex corner. Out to the edge, slam it back in, and now this, facing us up here, is a straight. It continually bends as it climbs uphill. Looking way up ahead, we see the track disappear over humps. You depend on the track marshals. You're blind, and you're over 170 right here. We're still climbing 180, over 190 miles an hour as we crest, and heavy braking into the very high-speed turn 8. We're still 125 miles an hour. Drop another gear into high-speed turn 9 to the left. Pass that Porsche up ahead. Get down the inside. One more gear drop into turn 10. This leads us out onto the start-finish lap and completes an exciting lap in Mosport.
No one better qualified to give you a ride here than my colleague Bill Adam at his home track. Let's check our Audi starting grid. The Audi's on the front row, the 1 car. Ronaldo Capello will start that machine alongside his teammate Frank Biela in car number 2. Second row, David Brabham and Jan Magnussen in the Panoz LMP1 to 50. And alongside, starting 4th, the champion Audi, Andy Wallace, an F1 veteran, Johnny Herbert. Row 3, the Cadillacs qualify 5th and 6th. Wayne Taylor from Altamont Springs, Florida. Max Angelilli will start the 8 car today. Emmanuel Collard will start the team machine, the 7. He'll team with Christophe Tinceau. 4th row, the other Panoz LMP1, Frank Lagorce from France, will start that machine. Klaus Graf is his partner. And then the pole sitter in the 675 prototypes, the lighter weight machine, Claudia Hurtgen from Germany and Steve Knight from the USA. Row number 5 here today looks like this. Terry Borcheller, Franz Conrad will be starting in the Celine. They're the GTS pole sitters. Milka Duno and John Grab will line up 9th in their 675 prototype. The pole sitter in GT, Dirk Mueller, Frederick Ekblom in one of the BMWs, the 43. Ibrick Benjamin, good to have you with us today here on NBC Sports. Rest of the starting lineup looks like this. There is row 5, the 6th row, one of the Corvettes, along with the GT BMW. Said and Stuck will be there. The rest of the field, 26 cars strong. Bill Adam, we've got 4 cars that had to fall to the back of the grid today. The pace car is in. We're set to go in very wet conditions here at Mosport. Glad to have you with us on NBC Sports. The Audis lead him to green, and here we go.
Well, nerves are flying. Look at the Panos. He is already trying to go down the inside. If he can get by, he cannot. That was a brilliant start by the Panos, but look at the spray. There is enormous spray on these opening laps will be thrown up because the downforce, the tunnel effect, throwing up huge sheets of water. It almost looks like hydroplane off the back, doesn't it?
Hard to see in these prototypes, not so much because rain comes into the cockpit, but just because of the spray off the tire.
That's exactly what it is. There's the champion car running around. Now that is actually Andy Wallace in the car. He'll be starting. One of the things we will be paying attention to as the day goes on is Andy Wallace's co-driver, ex-Formula One drive, Johnny Herbert, is simply
in trouble. The number 1 Audi off the course.
He is hard in the barrier. You saw the onboard. Listen to the sound. He made a major. There's another Panos off. All kinds of cars here.
That's the Graf Lagorce machine. Frank Lagorce driving the 51, and there's another car.
That's a champion car.
Andy Wallace has gone off in the gravel trap. It looks like he'll be the first car back onto the racetrack. Now the Audi hit very hard into the tires, Bill.
The one Audi, I don't think, is going to have very much of a good day. There's the lead car right now, you see, just continuing to motor around the track with a fairly substantial lead. And what a major turn of events on lap 1.
Jan Magnussen starting the 50 car for the Panos team. There's Lagorce backing the 51 around, trying to get it pointed in the right direction, getting ready to bring him back onto the racetrack. Let's show you again what happened. Running off turn 2.
No, look at this. You can see all the way before he even got into that corner. The car, he had lost it under braking. The champion car, Wallace taking evasive action. And then look at the other Audi. He has no place to go. He is simply forced to choose the spot in between the cars.
He could never turn. He tried to turn, could never get the car pointed around the corner.
Oh, boy, and how frustrating. He's sitting in the car right now trying to get this. No, in fact, he's not. He looks like he's going to unplug and get out. Yes. Oh, man.
So it looks as though Lagorce in the 51 is done. We're not even 1 lap in. Let's take another look from the Audi number 1, Dino Capello at the wheel.
Yeah, you saw Capello already working the wheel very hard. Now he's looking backwards, trying to think. He knows he's going to hit something, and it's almost a dangerous thing to do. Now he's praying that nobody's going to come into his field of vision and take him out head on.
And Andy Wallace got to the corner and almost did.
Both of those other cars, Andy Wallace and the Panos, really were just caught out.
So the 51 is out in front. The number 2 Audi is running second. The 1 car is on pit road to Calvin Fish.
Well, Capello brings it in. There's damage to the right rear corner on the wing and damage to the front end of the car as well. They've got the car up on the jacks right now. There's some kind of problem with the Audi team. They took advantage of this to top him up with gas, and they're pushing him back out of pit lane. So I'm not sure if we expect the 2 car in as well. You can see the splitter there on the left front has got some damage. It's touching the ground. This is going to be a healthy repair job on the number 1 Audi machine.
And the safety car headed down pit lane. They will put this field under caution after 1 lap here at Mosport International Raceway. So that helps the Audi team a little bit, gives them a chance to do some work under yellow.
It is a tremendously lucky break right now. Otherwise, they would lose multiple laps. But I think every driver in the field right now would far rather be driving an Audi street car, something with Quattro, than trying to drive a race car out here.
Now, most of these cars, everyone, in fact, starting on some sort of rain tires. Some drivers deciding perhaps for intermediate tires, not as deeply grooved. Others on full rains. The Panos team watching their computers and watching their television monitors to see what the situation is with Lagorce in the 51 car.
You can see Lagorce right now. He is back in the car. He's obviously seen that the pace car is coming out. He's going to try everything to get that car loose. We saw him back up before, but I'm wondering if something is broken in the left front corner because it looked like he couldn't steer. Well, the left front wheel.
The dive plane is gone and the bodywork's flapping, so there's evidently damage, and he can't turn the wheel.
No, he can't. I think the left front wheel is damaged. The suspension appears to be damaged on that side. He was caught out. An absolute innocent driver. He tried to do everything right to avoid it.
So Lagorce will get some help from the track safety crew. Not a wrecker, but just a safety truck there. We climb on board with the race leader. Jan Magnussen is out in front. We're early in the going at Mosport International Raceway. You're watching the American Le Mans Series. NBC's coverage of the American Le Mans Series GT3 Grand Prix at Mosport is being brought to you by Audi.
I remember 20 years ago, Audi turned the racing world upside down. First by introducing a race car with Quattro all-wheel drive, and second by having a woman driving.
What is it about Le Mans that has made men love it for over 50 years? Maybe it's the big, beautiful eyes or the sexy voice that it speaks in. It could be all those incredible bodies. Of course, there are other attractions. Find out for yourself as the Audi Petit Le Mans comes to Road Atlanta, October 3rd through the 6th. Call 1-800-849-RACE.
Welcome back to Mosport International Raceway, the American Le Mans Series here on NBC Sports, the GT3 Grand Prix at Mosport. And we had early trouble. The weather has not been good today. We've had hard rain for much of the day. And on turn 5 of lap 1, 2 of the leading contenders went off the racetrack into the wall hard. One of the Audis, one of the Panoses among the cars off at turn 5. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin. My partner is Bill Adam. We're glad to be with you from Mosport. The weather's improving now, but that won't help the 2 cars that are on pit road with any damage.
This was about as big an error as you could possibly take for one of the factory Audis to make something this huge, unthinkable, and simply it was pressure. He saw the Panos right there challenging, had to try and stay ahead.
Well, let's get down to pit road and find out more about the damage and the repairs that are going on. Calvin Fish is with the Audi team.
Well, the number 1 car sits here right now in pit lane, Rick. The defect and repairs, very disappointed. Ronaldo Capello sits behind the wheel. He was shaking his head, but major damage to the front end of the car. These cars are so sophisticated. There's all types of electronical components here on the front end. They had to change the clutch master cylinder, I believe it was, and they haven't replaced the right front corner on this Audi. So a very lengthy repair here, but it is under yellow. Let's go down to Martin in the Panos pit.
All around the left front corner. You can see the floor pan has been torn off by the impact, but the real damage has been done to the front left corner suspension. Although the suspension all looks to be straight, one of the wheels is towing out very badly. Basically, the left-hand side of the car is trying to turn left while the right-hand side goes straight on. So there's something in the steering that's been stretched or broken, and this is going to be a long stop for the 51 car as well.
Now, that is not the lead car for the Panos team, so the loss there may be not as severe as what the Audis have experienced with their number 1 car already in big trouble.
Yeah, it helps them a little bit in the fact that it wasn't the Brabham, the Magnussen car, but still it's nice to have backup because we've seen so many situations where flukes like this do happen and you want your car there just in case. Now, what this has also done is that we now have Cadillacs running 3rd and 4th place. A bonus day for them.
Take a look. There's the Riley and Scott from Rob Dyson's team, the 16. Butch Leitzinger and James Weaver are here. We've got back-to-back American Le Mans events here on NBC Sports. Next Saturday we'll be in Mid-Ohio, and the Dyson team taking advantage. They'll run these next 2 races. The Panos, Jan Magnussen is your restart leader. This is lap number 5, and we're back underway.
Well, Jan Magnussen, remember the last time we saw these cars up here, he had a bit of a shot going into turn 3, but he is a very good rain driver. There are 2 Canadians right there. That is, oh boy, and the Corvette gave a big wiggle going into turn 1.
That's Kelly Collins in the number 4 Corvette, leading in GTS right now. One of the 675 cars. Claudia Hurtgen is driving the number 11 for Ruth Nighthawk. John Graham is in the 57. Dick Barber fielding 2 cars in the 675 prototypes. As we check our BMW running order. Take a look at the battling down into the corner of the Corvettes, the 4 car. There's the 3 for Ron Fellows. They had to start at the back, Bill. They had clutch problems.
Yeah, and you can see Ron Fellows using a lot of his experience here at Mosport. He also has run thousands of laps at this track. And something you and I talked about earlier, Mosport in the rain, you try to go offline. And now a lot of people familiar with motorsport understand that you don't follow the line you normally would under race conditions. You want to get away from the rubber, away from the oil. Mosport pays massive dividends when you do that, and turn 3 is one of those areas with excellent traction on the outside edge of the corner. Ron Fellows, using his local knowledge, took advantage of that, and he's closing quickly on the 675 car here.
Fellows in the Goodwrench Corvette. Of course, they were the winners of GTS at Portland. They won at Sears Point the last time we were with you here on NBC Sports. The 57 and the 5, the 2 LMP 675 cars from Dick Barber's stable. There's one of the BMWs on the move in GT. Hans Stuck was the pole sitter in GT today, and he is up there. And look at the Dyson car. That's the white Thetford Norcold machine.
Oh, he's
in trouble.
Going in the wall. Oh, he did a great job. Outstanding control, keeping that car off the wall.
John Graham off of turn 10. He's a Canadian driver, lives not too far from here. Spun that car coming out of the front straightaway. He's going to have trouble getting back on line.
Oh, Johnny, don't do that. Now he's got to be backing down off that curb directly into the path of the cars coming off a blind turn 10. Back on the corner, you can see the Porsche go over top. That's a strip of concrete.
Yeah.
The difference in traction between that and the asphalt is just huge. John got on that, tried to get into some throttle, but look how it's filled up in front of the car. His 2 radiators are totally clogged with dirt. He's going to have to make a pit stop next lap or he'll overheat. Oh man, what a mess. Now he's also going to drop an awful lot of that dirt onto the track. The car is following. Watch out, guys.
We'll see if John Graham has any kind of mutter here. Your leader back up front meantime. Actually, this is not the leader. We're on board with the 57 car of Graham. Jan Magnussen still out in front in the Panos.
Oh, look at the lead.
He has a 2.6 second lead over Frank Biela in the Audi number 2.
There's the concrete patch. He's being very careful. Actually uses a higher gear off the corner. You don't want to drop down into the gear that gives you most acceleration because that's the easiest gear to give you wheel spin. You try and drive as smoothly as possible. Everything is done glassy smooth. You squeeze the throttle down. Here's the G-force. Now pay attention to this as the track dries out today. The speed right there, the big arc, we're 125, 130. Think of doing 130. Look at this. 140 miles an hour through the rain. Heavy braking all the way back down to 85, just about there 90. The G-force, he's already pulling a G&a half on wet track. Remarkable for these cars.
Magnussen strongly out in front, up through the gearbox of that Panos.
Now we lose this feed. This is not a problem with telemetry. Mosport has huge elevation changes, and as the car goes down here, which is the lowest point on the track, and now we're starting back up the straight, we pick up real good crisp telemetry. So unfortunately, folks, we can't do anything about that. Here's the back straight.
The Mario Andretti straightaway, as it's called here.
170, shifting into high gear. There's 180. He should touch just over, 190. He's going to reach it. Still in the rain, 190 miles an hour. Smooth braking. Listen to how gentle he's being with the throttle. That's a great touch. And the steering wheel motions, he's not trying to do anything violent with the wheel. You almost try and finesse the car around the track, running a much higher gear out of here as well, keeping the chance of wheel spin to a minimum.
Maybe only 4th or 3rd there.
Probably 4th gear out of there. Yeah, I think you're right, Rick.
Down into turn 1, and here comes the Audi, the number 1 that was the pole sitter today. Capello back onto the racetrack, but 8 laps down unofficially as the leaders come by.
Yeah, Reinhold Jost is probably making him go back out as a penalty. Saying, you broke my car, you have to go back.
Let's get on board quickly here with that machine and the driver, Capello, from Italy.
Teammate just going by him right there. You can see how slow he's going. His tires, of course, will be stone cold now after having sat in the pits. So he will have much less traction than any other car on the track. And what he wants to do is to try and stay out of competitors' way, not to get in anybody's way.
As we ride with car number 1, the pole sitter today, the Audi crashed hard on lap 1, and they are back on the racetrack after lengthy repairs. Now, this has been a full weekend of racing here, part of the undercard, if you will, on Saturday. We show you the top 5 here in the American Le Mans action. The Star Mazda cars were on the track for their event here yesterday. 29 cars took the green flag for round 5 on a sunny Saturday afternoon here at Mosport. The 14 of Scott Bradley, tied with Chad Block for the points lead, would finish 3rd after a duel here with Canadian Mark DeVellis. He now leads the championship. Trouble for the 10 car of Brett Arsenault. He goes over the wheel of another competitor while battling for position further back. Up front, though, San Franciscan Oliver Rowan would hold off Scott Jenkins to take the victory. He's the 5th different winner in as many races in the Star Mazda series.
Now this same feeling is available in a car.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Introducing the all-new Mazda Protégé 5.
Yeah, zoom, 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 zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Same feeling.
Zoom, zoom.
New form.
Yeah, zoom, zoom, zoom. Yeah, zoom, zoom, zoom. Yeah, zoom.
Chateau Elan Hotels and Resorts, the subtle difference of excellence.
For Bobby Jones, Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, and Tiger Woods, it was a springboard to fame who will follow the U.S. Amateur Championship next Saturday, 4 Eastern.
The world's top adventure athletes test their limits in the Subaru Gorge Games. Coverage begins next Sunday at 12:30 Eastern on NBC.
Next up on NBC Sports, you'll see Patrick Rafter take on Gustavo Curtin. final of the RCA Championships. It's one of the last major tune-ups before the U.S. Open of tennis later this month. The finals of the RCA Championships coming up next here on NBC. Welcome back to Mosport International Raceway. I'm Rick Benjamin. Bill Adams is alongside. Martin Haven and Calvin Fish are on pit road for us today. It's been a very interesting first many laps, Bill Adam. We're almost 20 laps into the GT3 Grand Prix here at Mosport. Your leader is the Panos Roadster. Jan Magnussen, David Brabham will jump in that car later. Because of the rain that we had and the wet conditions early on, it's jumbled things up in a huge way.
It really has. We've seen Magnussen really just going quickly enough to maintain a lead, but one of the things that's happening right now is that Andy Wallace is positively chewing his way through the field. He right now is picking up 4 seconds a lap on the Panos, and he is catching him very, very quickly. Now, Magnussen is still running quickly, and I'm sure that because the track conditions are improving so fast, he won't go to intermediates like what we saw the #1 Audi. He'll probably go straight to slicks when he makes a stop.
Of course, all these teams started on rain tires of one form or another because it was so wet when we took the green flag, but the rain has stopped. Some blue sky is starting to appear, and you can see the portion of the racetrack, the groove that is drying out as these cars work their way around this 2.5-mile 10-turn road course. There's one of the McKenna Alex Job Racing Porsches. Meantime, the 38, you got a glimpse of Andy Wallace in the champion Audi. Wallace has moved that car into second spot, Bill, and he is flying right now.
It's been very impressive. We watched Andy go off on the opening lap right down here, right where he's passing right there at Moss Corner. That's the hairpin corner. We watched him go off into the gravel. Obviously did not get flustered, and he's regained the track. The car doesn't appear to have suffered any problems at all because of that off-course excursion. And as you say, he is just tearing around the track. Even that lap again, another 3 seconds picked up from the leading Jan Magnussen Panos.
Right now, as they come up the backstretch, here's your third place machine. Butch Leitzinger and Rob Dyson, Thetford, Norcolt, Riley, and Scott with a Ford motor in the back end. This is the new Riley and Scott. The car's been on the racetrack about a year now. It's had a lot of teething problems. The Dyson team decided to come and run here this weekend. And next Saturday, when we're with you from Mid-Ohio, they'll run this car to try to help the development of this machine.
Nice to see them join us. Butch Leitzinger has always been one of my favorite drivers. I think he's a really good young driver, very personable. And one of the things the American Le Mans Series has done this year is to try and encourage more privateer efforts. Now, what they have done, you see the 2 little air intakes above the helmet there, the black helmet of Leitzinger. Next time we get a shot, now right there, those 2 little openings, there are air restrictors in there. They have specific sizes. For a privateer team, they're allowing more of a size, more of an air opening, which according to some people can give them as much as a 50 horsepower advantage over the factory teams. That's good encouragement for privateers to join up.
And this car is about 2 seconds a lap quicker than the old Riley and Scott, the Mark 8 that they have used, the Dyson team and many others have used for so many years. So they're hoping to get this car developed. Now, James Weaver, the great English driver, will be in this car a little bit later on. They're up to third. The interesting story, they began this race on pit road. They had a battery failure as they were coming down for the green flag.
You know, another lesson showing you don't ever give up. The champion Audi goes off on lap 1. They now are back up in second. This car starts in pit lane dead last. They're up running a solid third place. And in fact, they too are catching the leader.
Andy Wallace and the champion Audi to the inside of one of the AMR Vipers. Now, there are 2 Vipers. These are Orica cars, but they're being campaigned by American Viper Racing now.
Yeah, they were not the Orica cars that we got used to a couple of years ago. They were so dominant with Carl Wendlinger driving up here at Mosport. We watched him at a great victory there a year ago. But these were built by the Orica team. They were brand new cars and still have a lot of sorting out, according to David Donahue, who's in one of the cars.
That's the car that Donahue will share. Shane Lewis is in that 45 car right now, the red Viper that you see behind Andy Wallace's champion machine. A little further back, one of the GT Porsches, one of the Alex Job machines, the 23. Lucas Luhr piloting that car. They're 16th overall. Meantime, let's jump on board with J.J. Leto in the BMW, one of the Schnitzer factory cars, leading the GT competition in car number 42.
This is heading up the back straight right now. You hear him going through the gears, the whine of the straight cut gears. Very, very fast cars. And this is a good sign. The wiper is just occasionally wiping the windshield. No rain appearing right up there at all. So it looks like the local weather forecaster was correct. It's going to be a good afternoon after all.
Up the Andretti straightaway over one of the humps down toward turn 8. You watch some of the other GT machines battle. Let's show you your BMW GT class standings coming into this 5th round of the American Le Mans Series Championship. Sasha Masson and Lucas Luhr are teammates with Alex Job's Porsche group, just 1 point apart. Forrest and Hans Stuck share a car. That's one of the Tom Milner PTG BMWs, and then Jörg Mueller in one of the Schnitzer cars. So a very tight battle for GT honors.
It is a battle. We had a very nice dinner last night with Masson and Luhr, and what a couple of charming drivers. Amazing.
A couple of young drivers in the Porsche stable, much as expected of them, of course. as the years go by. As we check your Porsche running order, top left of your screen. In GT, it's Leto, Stuckey, Mueller, then Randy Pobst trying to get back into contention. He is back in 8th. And we understand that the leader has come to pit road. So Andy Wallace is now your overall leader. Jan Magnussen has come to pit road. But let's get more on the GT situation downstairs to Martin Haven.
I'm with the newest face in the GT field, brought into the PTG BMW team only yesterday evening after Bill Auberlen had a crash in practice. It's Joe Foster. Joe, you've just come in on the wet tyres like everybody else in the GT field to change to slicks. What are conditions like?
Well, it's obviously drying out a good bit. There's still a lot of puddling in certain places. A lot of carnage going on, a lot of huge near misses going on, and obviously I'm just attempting to fill Billy's shoes this weekend, and with him out, and my marching orders are very clear to basically keep the thing on the pavement at whatever cost, and everybody was definitely pretty ragged out there, so far it's going according to plan.
Very early driver change, that presumably means you'll need to get back in the car later.
Yeah, the plan is, from what I understand, to put me back in later.
All right, well, we hope it's nice and dry for you there. Joe stepping up to the big league for the first time as Bill Auberlen had his accident. Bill Auberlen in hospital yesterday after slight concussion, but he's back here at the racetrack and ready to go racing in 3 weeks when the doctors allow him.
Good news for that team. Trouble, though, for the Dyson team. The 16 car, Butch Leitzinger, plowing up some of the turf here at Mosport Park. Cut across the grass after he lost it. He's back on the racetrack, Bill, but he's got to clean those tires off.
One of the scary parts to lose it, too, because that was down to the bottom of turn 2. An extremely fast area of track. Oh, and there's one of the Porsches off, too. Straight down at Mosport, the hairpin. Again, that's where the incident at turn 1 happened. So well, I can't believe it's still slippery down there. That should be dry. It's steeply uphill, which also helps drainage. Look at how dry it is here. You see all of that light area is good, dry track. Leitzinger getting back up to speed, but that car is still wiggling a lot. Now, here's a replay. Look at him sideways down, too. That's 140 miles an hour, suddenly backwards.
Good thing he got it gathered up before he contacted the... No, maybe he did. He did clip the tire barrier.
Man.
Bent one of the little canard wings. No, he didn't. It looks like it's straight out the front of that car. It's amazing.
I'll bet he doubled his heartbeat.
You'd think so. Calvin Fish, what's the situation in the Dyson pits?
Well, actually, a lot of these guys have just switched over to the slick tires, Bill, and that's really creating some problems. The reason they have to do that is that these wet tires are now starting to overheat. And I've got them down here in the Panos pit. Magnussen was in. He switched off the wet tire because absolutely destroyed this Michelin wet. It's a good tire, but when you get this overheating going on, it just chunks up. There's no grip whatsoever. So I think the reason we're seeing some spins out there right now, guys are out on slick tires, no tire temperature, and the track is still somewhat damp.
All right, let's show you how things stack up now with all the pit stops of the cars going off course in the still somewhat wet conditions. Andy Wallace in the champion Audi is now your leader. That's the 38, but he's got a problem.
Definite problem. Andy Wallace has really slowed down.
Two of the GT BMWs will whip by. That's Stuckey in the 6. One of the Schnitzer cars going by as well. I believe that would be J.J. Leto in the 42. Here comes the 43 car with Mueller.
This is kind of strange. He almost looked like he started getting back up to speed for a moment.
He was definitely off pace there, though.
All of the tires look okay. Can't see anything coming out the back. Yellow flag out, so boy, he's getting a lucky break. He's going to be able to make a pit stop here with a yellow flag. That might be a pace car.
We will find out what the situation is with the champion Audi. Safety car will be out, full course caution, because you've got one of the Peterson Porsches, or the Peterson Porsche, in the tire barrier that we saw a few moments ago. The 30 car, Timo Bernhard was driving that machine. That was Bernhard you saw up on the tire barrier with a big B on his helmet there a few moments ago as we were discussing Butch Leitzinger's trip into the grass and into the tire barrier. Yellow's out for the second time here this afternoon as we watch the 42, J.J. Leto leading in GT in that BMW. Stuck is second. There's Wallace going by. And this, according to our scoring monitor, will put Jan Magnussen back into the lead in the Panos in the 50 car. So things are shuffling quickly here at Mosport International Raceway. NBC's coverage of the GT3 Grand Prix at Mosport will continue. You're watching the American Le Mans Series on NBC Sports.
can you keep track of the latest in sports car racing? Monthly, with Le Mans and Sports Car Racer magazine. New from the publishers of F1 Racing and Autosport. Call 1-800-800-3921 to subscribe. It's the fastest way to keep track. Insightful columns, exclusive interviews, dazzling photography. Every month in Le Mans and Sports Car Racer magazine. New from the publishers of F1 Racing and Autosport. Call 1-800-800-3921 to subscribe. It's the fastest way to keep track.
Next Saturday, the world's most exotic sports cars tackle Mid-Ohio for the first time. The American Le Mans Series Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio. Next Saturday, 2 Eastern, NBC. The top player in the world, Gustavo Kuerten, meets two-time U.S. Open winner Patrick Rafter in the RCA Championships Final. Coming up next on NBC.
Here they come to the final corner.
No, he got blocked. He's going to go to the outside and take one shot of acceleration. Can he do it?
Drag race off the final turn. Here he comes. No. Inside the Audi wins.
Holy man.
Ronaldo Capello. And look at McNish in the celebration. Wow.
Holy gee, what a finish. Now for the GTS.
Here comes Pilgrim drawing up onto the back bumper. Vendlinger is going to hold on and score the victory for Dodge. Undefeated since they joined the American Le Mans Series here at Mosport 1 year ago.
Wow.
6 races in '99, now 6 in 2012 for 12 for Team Viper.
Close finishes a Mosport tradition. We are ready to restart. Jan Magnussen, your restart leader in the Panos, the 50 car, one of the 675 prototypes, the 5 car of Didier Deradigues second here. Emmanuel Pirot now jumping into the number 2 Audi. The sun is shining, and we're back underway. We've had a lot of action here so far at Mosport Park. Imric Benjamin, Bill Adams alongside Martin Haven, Calvin Fish on pit road for us today. You're on NBC Sports. The Cadillacs up toward the front. That is the 7 car. Emmanuel Collard is riding 6th overall. And one of the other 675 prototypes, that's the Root Nighthawk machine right behind him. And a battle, the GTS battle. Ron Fellows, the 4 car is involved in the mix here. Kelly Collins, not on the same lap. There's Fellows in the 3. The Celine right now, the number 26 Celine, Franz Conrad driving, 7th overall. They are leading in GTS. And Bill Adam, Ron Fellows had problems a little while ago, went off the racetrack in that number 3.
He did. He made a little bit of an error going around turn 3, got wide, got off onto the tire wall, and just tagged it lightly. I mean, it was really a fortunate hit. He got away with something that could have been disastrous. Again, going back to his knowledge of the track, tried to let the car drift out as wide as possible without making an abrupt turn. Huge battle right now. A pair of 7-liter cars going up the straight right here. The Celine, the 427 Ford, the Corvette is to the inside, and he's got him. Ron Fellows, a beautiful late pass going into turn 8.
Fellows with part of the rear bodywork knocked off of that Corvette. We'll show you the incident in a moment. Meantime, the 38, the champion Audi, Johnny Herbert, the Formula 1 great, driving that machine now, showing 3rd overall. He gets around the Corvettes and the Celine. Here comes the number 8 Cadillac and the number 2 Audi. Pirot driving the Audi now. The Cadillac in the hand of Max Angelilli.
And when this started just a moment ago after that situation, we were watching Johnny Herbert. He was actually behind Pirot. He has disposed of him like it was just a 2nd place car.
No problem at all. Angelilli there in the silver Cadillac. There's Kelly Collins in the other Corvette. The Goodwrench number 4 car. Pirot in the 2, the Audi. This has not been a good afternoon for Audi so far.
It's amazing.
Tom Christensen has retired the number 1 car. They wrecked on lap 1. They've wrecked again. We'll show that to you in a couple of moments. There's Conrad and the Celine. They were leading GTS after a round of pit stops and a lengthy caution period. But now Fellows, even though he knocked the left rear corner off the bodywork of that Corvette, he's gotten back around to lead GTS.
It's one of the few places on the car that you can actually damage without seriously affecting the aerodynamics on it. And because it's behind the car and yet still under the wing, oh man, James Weaver just flashes up the inside there, taking full advantage of the tremendous downforce of these 900 cars.
Rob Dyson, Snoot, Riley, and Scott with Ford power. First time out in quite a while. There's Fellows in the Corvette. He'll hand that car off to Johnny O'Connell a little bit later on today.
See, they still have to be a little bit careful coming off that corner. You don't want to allow the car to drift really wide. There's that one patch of water left right by the speed bumps at the end of that corner.
If you're with us at the top of the broadcast, the rain was just abating when we came on the air. Now things have dried almost completely, but it's still been very challenging. All the teams have had to change from wet weather tires to dry. There's been wet patches on the racetrack that have caused many cars to go off in various places. It's been just an afternoon full of action.
It has really been an afternoon to challenge the engineers on these teams. There is a huge difference in a setup between a full wet race and a full dry race. Some of the people thought this was going to be a wet day. They obviously didn't listen to me. And they set up running a lot of wing in their car. They ran a very soft sway bar and very soft shock and spring combination, which they do want to run under wet conditions. But for dry, you want a car set up as firm as possible, and you really don't want to run a lot of wing because it slows you on this long straight. Look at this battle forming up here. There's a pair of 7-liter big blocks. Chevy ahead of Ford right now.
Kelly Collins in the Goodwrench Corvette, the yellow car, the Celine with a Ford motor. Franz Conrad trying to get inside, can't do it. This is not for position, by the way. Collins is not on the same lap. He's a lap down now to the Celine. Martin Heyman, what's the situation for the Celine team?
Well, like everybody else, they're back on slick tires. The difference with Celine compared to anybody in the field is they have wet tires from one manufacturer and dry tires from another. Franz Conrad, who's at the wheel and runs this team, wasn't happy with the way that his Goodyear dry weather tires worked, so they've gone with the Dunlops. But he still had a trunk full of Goodyear wet weather rubber, and being a good private team owner, he wasn't going to waste those by trying the Dunlop wets. So they've gone from one manufacturer at the start to another at the middle of the race, and who knows, they may end up on Goodyear. What is the weather for the locals? You know, it's looking sunny now, but who can tell?
As a Scotsman, I have to admire his decision to use whatever you have.
That's the way it works when you're a private team owner. Conrad in that white and blue 26. New paint scheme. If you're with us at Sears Point a few weeks ago, you saw that car in its original black and white livery. These are the more traditional Conrad team colors.
Yeah, for years we saw Conrad running the Porsches, of course, and they were always in that color. It's almost unusual to see him running something different from a Porsche.
Jumping on board, Jan Magnussen talked to him yesterday. Magnussen and his teammate David Brabham, who won at Portland just a few weeks ago to break the Audi win streak. Jan was telling me that he had gone off course. He was concerned about the handling of the car as the weather was changing yesterday. He's got to be pleased with the way this car's running now.
Yeah, one of the big changes we're going to watch right now, too, the speeds and the G-forces. Now that this car is able to use everything properly, watch the massive G-force this car can demonstrate. I believe he's just coming onto the straight right now. Look at the acceleration climbing like crazy. He's going to go up over 190 miles an hour up at the top. Full acceleration on the bottom there. Something to watch also. Look at his right hand as he shifts. He's grabbing the gear shift with only his fingers. There's nothing brutal as he changes gears. Look, very soft. That's good for saving a car. He's not forcing the transmission into gear. Really a nice touch. And then watch as he upshifts. He just wraps his fingers around it and pulls it back in the next gear.
No clutch, sequential shift like in a motorcycle.
Exactly, yes. Now watch this. Look, just very soft.
Flick.
True professional.
Magnussen very smooth, of course. Formula One, a veteran, has raced in the kart champ cars too. Calvin Fish, the Panos team, has to be pleased. One of their cars is out, but Magnussen looks very strong.
He's very strong. He's very comfortable with the car. I spoke to the team on whether they had to compromise the setup for what they believe would be a wet race. They said essentially all we did was raise the car. We're very concerned under heavy water that the car will aquaplane. Same thing for Yost. I just spoke to them about the number 2 machine. Same deal. We just raised the car. No other spring changes. They can stiffen the roll bar and stuff back up from inside the cockpit. Obviously change the brake bias, things like that. But essentially Magnussen saying thumbs up. I'm cool out here, guys. We're good.
Magnussen with an 11-second lead over Johnny Herbert in the privateer Audi, the 38 car. Pirro in the factory car, the Yost Deuce. He's 13 seconds back. So Magnussen with the old Panos. This is not the car that they brought out recently at the end of last season. This is the older car, the front engine machine that didn't dust everybody, but had a narrow win over Audi at Portland.
And who said the day of the dinosaur is dead?
Yeah.
This is a great crowd favorite. It sounds wonderful, big thumping V8 power, and it almost grabs everyone's attention. That you think that, well, it's the underdog. It's up against the might of Audi. These flawless cars against the just perfect preparation of Yost Racing, and yet here they are.
Magnussen, of course, a very personable young driver and a very, very smooth competitor, doing a great job here. We will be back with plenty more of the American Le Mans Series as we show you the category standings in Mosport. We're covering the GT3 Grand Prix at Mosport. We'll be back after these words from our local stations.
Why don't you open the vault for me?
To catch criminals this good,
you might want to catch the next one.
Sure.
you need police who can get under their skin. From the producers of Aaron Brockovich.
I got him on video.
And the writer of Armageddon.
Federation!
You see Undercover, NBC Sundays this fall.
Welcome back to Mosport International Raceway here on NBC Sports. Coverage of the GT3 Grand Prix at Mosport, the American Le Mans Series today. I'm Rick Benjamin with Bill Adam on pit road, Calvin Fish, Martin Haven. Tons of action. We're just past halfway here at Mosport. Bill, the thousands of fans who came out this weekend certainly have gotten their money's worth so far. Here's your overall leader, Magnussen.
They have. Well, they were enjoying it even when it was a little bit damp this morning, but now the weather has turned perfect. This is a huge crowd wandering around yesterday. It's so nice to see this many people and campers, families. It's wonderful.
So Panos is leading. The privateer Audi of Johnny Herbert and Andy Wallace, the 38, is second. And the factory Audi, the only one remaining, the 2-car, Emmanuel Pirot driving, he is third. He's about 7 seconds behind Jan Magnussen. Interesting pit strategy may play itself out here. We'll talk about that in a moment. But we want to show you some of the things that have happened during the first half of the GT3 Grand Prix here at Mosport. Among the prototypes, a lot of cars off. This is how wet it was early. And there's your pole sitter, the number 1 Audi. Frank Biela driving at that time. He goes off. Andy Wallace goes off in the 38. And here comes the 51, Frank Lagorce. John Graham had a couple of trips off the racetrack in his 675 car. Looked like he got bumped by a Porsche on the way by that time in Dick Barber's car. That car's back on. And here's Butch Leitzinger in the Dyson machine spinning and going off. And he just clips the tire barriers at the bottom of the hill after the first couple of corners. Now they repaired the 1 car, got it back on the racetrack. New body work. Capello started that machine today. The 51 had to retire. And then big problems for the 1 Christensen. Off the corner, into the tires, very hard. They are done for the day.
Yeah, not a good day for Team Yost at all. This has just been a horrendous day. But here is the leader. This is the number 50 car, Jan Magnussen, continuing to drive so smoothly. And right back there is second place, which is a great battle between Johnny Herbert, who's now driving the champion car, and Emanuele Pirro in that number 2 car. That's the second Yost car, the only remaining car. They've been going at it tooth and nail, and it's been very interesting watching the lap times. Magnussen has seemingly just been able to put up enough of a quick lap whenever he has to, but basically they are all running very, very close times.
And we started 26 cars here today. That's a lot of traffic at Mosport. Several cars are out because of all the cars you saw fly off during the wet conditions. So the traffic's thinned a little, but Herbert's done a masterful job of keeping Pirro in his mirror.
And Johnny Herbert had never even seen Mosport before. Now, something I said earlier, this has always been noted as being one of the most intimidating, most difficult tracks in the world. It is a very, very tough place to master. Johnny Herbert turned up here, and it seemingly took 4 or 5 laps and was instantly on the pace. So I think that's part of the thing that shows you get the Formula One ability. He can just adapt so quickly.
So Herbert leads Pirro by about 15 car lengths. Martin Haven, you're standing by to tell us more about the champion team's effort. They've had a great weekend so far.
Folks, it's been going very well for champions so far, and Andy Wallace's face has mirrored the weather. This morning it was raining, he looked very downcast. A little sunnier now, Andy, you've been in the lead.
Well, I have to say, the first lap of the race was unbelievable. It was so slippery, as you probably saw down at turn 5 when we all arrived. But all was not lost. The car was fantastic. We came in, changed tyres, checked the car over, and it was flying. So all that we had to do on the way. And no, we think we could do it.
What about fuel? Good to go the whole distance?
I can't tell you things like that. We're quite happy with our fuel, thank you.
Their fuel seems to be coming out of a gas can, guys. That's as far as they'll go.
Well, there are indications that the 2 Audis that remain may be able to make it the remaining difference. We're just a little bit past halfway now with only 1 more stop. Bill Adam, that could be a problem for Magnussen and David Brabham. They may need 2.
Yeah, they really just blew the last yellow flag situation by a tiny bit. They thought they could probably go 1 more lap under yellow. They were going to bring this car in and do the stop. And unfortunately, it went green before they wanted it to. So it looks like they will be required to do 2 stops, one of which will be a splash. But still, the time it takes to slow down entering pit road and, of course, accelerating out effectively just makes it as bad as a long stop.
It's a real test of these American Le Mans Series crews because they will have to do a full one, a driver change, tire change, and a full fuel load coming up at some point here in the fairly near future. It's been an interesting year, certainly for the Panos team. You know the story. They've changed cars, gone back to their original horse. Calvin Fish earlier this weekend took us on a little tour of the Panos garage to explain the changeover and why the team made the move.
After the Audis dominated the second half of the 2000 season, it was with great anticipation that Panos Motorsports debuted their new challenger, the radical LMP07, in Adelaide last December. It made just a handful of laps before retiring, and whilst the team principals claimed it was just raced too early, the writing was already on the wall. The car was not really on the pace and had numerous problems, including the cooling and electrical systems, as well as the engine department. Gone was the proven 6-litre V8 thumper, and in its place a lightweight, high-revving 4-litre V8. The team was then thrown into a tailspin as the chief designer left the project and the program engineer tragically passed away. They arrived in Texas for round one with very little hope, but they surprised everyone, including themselves, by challenging the Audis and leading before finishing third. This was the car's only moment of glory, however, and after an embarrassing outing at Le Mans, Don Panos decided to park the new car and bring the LMP1 back out of mothballs. On its return at Sears Point, Brabham and Magnussen split the works Audis from the champion Audi, and for the first time in many months, they felt they were back in the race. It was like a breath of fresh air as they took this momentum to Portland 2 weeks ago and stunned the Yost team by beating them for the first time in almost a year. How could this happen? Well, the Portland track certainly suited the brute power of the 6-litre V8, and there were not many quick corners where the Audis typically excel, and Brabham and Magnussen drove like two caged animals which were coming out of sedation. Well, can this old car continue to win? Well, since the end of last season, they've actually revised the front-end geometry on the car, really improving the balance, and the drivers really like it. There's also the promise of further development with the 6-litre V8 engine, meaning more horsepower. And one thing's for sure, Brabham and Magnussen really enjoyed the taste of champagne in Portland. They want to do it again, and I wouldn't bet against it.
Now in the first half of action here today at Mosport, it's looked as though Magnussen and Brabham might get to drink the champagne once again from the podium, Bill Adam, but all of a sudden, Johnny Herbert, Emanuele Pirro, they're closing in.
Yeah, I think it's really a case of Magnussen is probably just starting to run out of tires at this point. This won't be driver fatigue, that both Jan, Johnny Herbert, Pirro, all of these drivers, they are top flight athletes. They can withstand a couple of hours in the car without a problem. But eventually you come to a point where, well, the rubber just doesn't meet the road as well as it used to. That's the problem right now, that they really did need that pit stop a little while ago, and it's showing. Johnny Herbert has closed down from a 6-second lead all the way down to 2 seconds.
Fuel loads are starting to get light in these cars. Magnussen trying to hang on. The team has led just about all the way since the first couple of wet corners when a couple of the cars went right off the racetrack, including the 50 Cars teammate. Calvin Fish, the Panos team, must be watching this one with a lot of concern.
They are. They really missed the boat there under the caution by bringing Magnussen in, and they're also in the 2-hour window maximum driver time, which would allow Brabham to go the rest of the way. So they will definitely need 2 stops if it goes green. Audi, however, both champion and the Yost team believe they can make it on one. And Yost, remember, do have an advantage. They have the direct fuel injection, a different engine system there, and it's really a lot more fuel efficient as well as more power. So I'd say right now, if there's a fuel advantage, it goes down to the number 2 car in Yost.
The 5 car that you see there, that silver machine, that's one of the 675 prototypes. In fact, Didier de Radigues has that car leading the category, and he's 4th overall, but there goes Herbert, putting him another lap down. Those cars, of course, aren't as fast in a straight line. They're lighter, though. They do handle better in certain situations.
What the Panos team really need right now is a yellow flag situation where he could come in and at least take care of one of the big stop, get a full fuel load, get new tires, and then get Brabham in the car before he gets back out. So maybe we should give the NBC kiss of death by saying this race will stay green for the rest.
Well, Magnussen in the 50 car, David Brabham, his teammate, watching and waiting, trying to win their 2nd consecutive American Le Mans event. Let's show you the top 5. Magnussen leads, then Herbert, Pirro, de Radigues, and Weber, the top 5. We'll take a break here, but first let's take a look at a Porsche memory for you. 1977 at Le Mans was to be a showdown between Porsche and Renault, and early on it was. But in the second hour, the Martini Porsche 936 of Hurley Haywood and Jürgen Barth was forced to pit for a fuel injection pump replacement. An hour later, the sister car of Jackie Ickx and Henri Pescarolo was out in a cloud of smoke with a broken crankshaft. But the race was far from over. The Porsche Brain Trust would install Ickx in the Haywood-Barth car, and it would come back in 41st position. Ickx's speed was effective immediately. He pressed relentlessly through the night, and by noon Sunday, all 3 of the factory Renaults were out. The Ickx Haywood-Barth 936 had amazingly erased the deficit and now led. But with a 19-lap advantage and just 45 minutes to go, Haywood saw smoke from his car. With a hold piston, he limped to the pits, where Porsche's Best disabled the dead cylinder in hopes of salvaging the victory. They waited on pit road for 30 minutes, and then Jürgen Barth returned to the track and nursed the ailing 936 home to victory. Porsche's 4th win at Le Mans, and perhaps Ickx's greatest ever.
Dad, I missed the bus.
Really?
The 911 Carrera, what only a Porsche brings to driving.
Thanks, Dad. Dad.
You want to race? Or just drive like you've never driven before? We've got the cars. We've got the tracks. We've got one cool school. The Pay-Nose Racing School at Road Atlanta, Sebring, Texas Motor Speedway, and Mosport International Raceway. 1-888-282-GTRA. This is one cool school.
Their excellence will be tested as the WNBA's elite teams battle for the league's ultimate prize. On the road to the championship next Sunday on NBC.
Welcome back to Mosport International Raceway. First of 2 back-to-back events in the American Le Mans Series here on NBC Sports. Next week, Saturday, we're at Mid-Ohio in the central part of Ohio. 2 o'clock Eastern Time, the Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio. More American Le Mans Series action. Don't miss our coverage Saturday at 2 Eastern right here on NBC. I'm Rick Benjamin with Bill Adam on pit road. Martin Haven and Calvin Fish. We're watching a terrific battle that has yielded this. Johnny Herbert and Andy Wallace have put the champion Audi, the privateer Audi, out in front. Herbert driving the R8 to the lead. Emanuele Pirro is second in the 2-car. The other factory Audi, the other Yost machine, is out. Tom Christensen crashed that machine out a while back. Third belongs to David Brabham and Jan Magnussen in the Paynos. Max Angelilli has the Cadillac up in 4th now. He's just past James Weaver and Rob Dyson's Riley and Scott machine. That kicks Weaver back to 5th spot. Pirro, meantime, 3.2 seconds, Bill Adam, behind Johnny Herbert as we watch Pirro come up the back straightaway, moving inside one of the Porsches. And on pit road, the Dyson car, the 8 Cadillac on pit road, fueling, driver changes. It looks like Butch Leitzinger is getting back in the Dyson 16. The 8 car, meantime, on pit road. Wayne Taylor there for Max Angelilli. Tires going on both those cars. Leitzinger qualified the 16.
I'm kind of surprised that Weaver is getting back out of that car. We saw the black helmet into the start where Weaver got in the middle section, and all of a sudden they're just doing one and doing a driver change again. I don't understand that.
Air jacks come down. The Riley and Scott, the new generation Riley and Scott machine goes up. 4 new Goodyear slicks will go on that race car. It's normally a situation where Weaver would start for the Dyson team. Leitzinger qualified the car and started it here today, and they've switched drivers twice now. Here's Herbert. We assume the champion team will use Herbert all the way to the end, Bill.
Yeah, they definitely will. Without question, they're going to leave him in. Now, one thing that's taking place here, we've seen him come out to almost a 3-second lead. They're showing 2.98 seconds right now over Pirro in 2nd place. But one of the interesting things here is that that car on your screen right there, the number 2 Audi, is not quite the equal of the champion car. Now, yeah, they look alike and they sound alike and everything else. As now the champion car is diving in the pits. This car here is blessed with fuel injection, direct fuel injection. At Le Mans, they were getting an extra lap every tank. Here, they could potentially get another 2, 3, whatever.
So that should be an advantage for the Yost Audi, the silver car. Pirro at the wheel. Here's Herbert. Now, under American Le Mans Series rules, you cannot change tires and fuel the car at the same time as you can in NASCAR or in kart, for example. Let's go downstairs to Martin Haven.
Well, Johnny Herbert looks fairly calm at the wheel. They're ready with front tyres and potentially rear tyres for the Audi, but as you say, the fuel has to go in first, Rick, absolutely correct. Herbert gets rid of the tear-off visor. Inside, you can't really see his face, but I bet the smile extends from ear to ear.
He is having a good time right now, and I watched one of the Michelin engineers at the back of the car. He gave a thumbs up. Once again, earlier we saw the 16 cars he tried to leave the pits was very, very slow leaving. And again, I don't know what's going on here, but this car does not. It's chugging a bit.
Well, we talked about it at the top of the broadcast. They started on pit road. Leitzinger squeezes the throttle, and the car gets a little squirrely coming off pit road. They had a battery problem. They didn't even take the green with the rest of the field. Leitzinger got the car up into third spot for a while there.
Now, it almost looked like the choke was stuck, but of course they don't have chokes in these cars. There was some black smoke coming out. The car just didn't want to run cleanly. And sometimes, for a driver sitting in the car trying to get back underway, it can be so frustrating. It feels like it takes minutes.
As we watch Johnny Herwick back on the racetrack being shown second, but Emanuele Pirro in the 2 car, the factory Audi, the Yost machine, he's a lap to the good right now, and we expect them to have to make one more stop as well. Now everyone's worrying, or not worrying, but thinking about next season in the American Le Mans Series, starting to plan what the teams are going to do, what the driver lineups will be, whether equipment will change for the top teams. But series officials have been hard at work making plans for the 2002 campaign. What will the schedule look like? There's going to be a brand new event on the calendar next year. We'll bring it to you here on NBC Sports. The announcement made in Washington, D.C. a couple of days ago.
We're pleased to announce that professional racing is roaring its way onto the streets of our nation's capital.
Next July 21st, the American Le Mans Series will stage the National Grand Prix of Washington, D.C. on the grounds of RFK Stadium. You'll see it here on NBC. It's a 1.7-mile course that should be uniquely challenging.
I've seen the outline, and you know, from what I see, it's going to be a tight track, and you know, obviously there's a few corners that look like great opportunities for passing. So you know, I'm obviously really excited to be here and be involved in such a big deal.
We're in the big leagues now, and we've always felt that way in our own right, and it's nice to get validation like this.
It'll be called the National Grand Prix at Washington, D.C. around RFK Stadium. Make your plans to attend July 21st next summer. If you'd like ticket information, 1-888-456-8448, or check out the website nationalgrandprix.com. We're at Mosport International Raceway. Emanuele Pirro has one of the Yost Audis out in front. Familiar situation for that team. Of course, their long 14-race win streak came to an end a couple of weeks ago at Portland International Raceway at the hands of the Panos LMP1, the 50 car. The Panos led much of the early going here, past halfway, really. Right now, Pirro looking pretty strong, Calvin Fish.
He really is. As we have seen, he does have the fuel advantage. He'll do a slightly shorter fuel stop. And the other key, I just spoke to the Michelin engineer for Yost, and he says, I hope to be able to give him the thumbs up. Remember, the champion team did change the left side tires. That cost valuable seconds. Pirro should be given the thumbs up, fuel only. He should take the lead.
Pirro is out in front now as he threads his way through some of the GT machinery. One of Tom Milner's BMWs there in front of Pirro down into turn 1.
Once again, look at the acceleration of this car. It is just enormous the way that this twin turbo V8 puts the power to the ground. 145 miles an hour down that corner.
Pirro flashing the lights just like you're on the interstate. Hey, move over, guys. I'm coming through.
Yeah.
Pirro very strong out in front. About 41 minutes of racing left here at Mosport International Raceway. We'll take a look at the class leaders here at the GT3 Grand Prix at Mosport. It's Pirro. Lambert leads the 675s. You're watching the American Le Mans Series on NBC.
What is it about Le Mans that has made men love it for over 50 years? Maybe it's the big, beautiful eyes or the sexy voice that it speaks in. It could be all those incredible bodies. Of course, there are other attractions. Find out for yourself as the American Le Mans Series comes to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, Saturday, August 25th. Call 1-800-MID-OHIO.
2 years ago, the USA staged the biggest comeback in Ryder Cup history to win back the Cup. Now, Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, David Duval, Davis Love, and more are on a mission to defend the Ryder Cup. Golf's ultimate challenge, the Ryder Cup, this September on NBC.
NBC Sports coverage of the American Le Mans Series GT3 Grand Prix at Mosport is being brought to you by BMW. Find yours at BMWUSA.com. Welcome back to Mosport International Raceway. Coverage of the GT3 Grand Prix at Mosport. The American Le Mans Series here on NBC Sports. I'm Rick Benjamin. Bill Adams is alongside. Calvin Fish, Martin Haven on pit road for us. About 40 minutes of racing to go. Watching the Dyson, Riley, and Scott. 16 cars sitting sixth. Butch Leitzinger driving that machine. Here's Johnny Herbert in the 38, running in second spot. Your leader on pit road, Emanuele Pirro, bringing the Yost machine onto pit road. Look at this, Bill Adam. They bring the car to pit road. They bring tires out. They don't put them on. They fuel them only.
The Michelin rep took a quick look at them. He basically had the champion car to go by, knowing the setups are fairly similar, knowing that tire abuse shouldn't be a problem on this car. He took a quick look, gave them a thumbs up, and right now all I have to worry about is a little bit of fuel. Now he knows he's only got 45 minutes of racing left. He doesn't even require a fuel tank, thereby keeping the car as light as possible.
Pirro, the entire hope of the factory Audi effort on his shoulders now, because the team car, the #1 machine that was on the pole for Capello and Christensen, they crashed twice. They are done. They were done pretty early today. Pirro flashing the lights just like he was on I-95.
Boy, he better hope he's not on I-95. Flashing your lights doesn't do any good at all on that highway.
So Pirro with a 12-second lead over Johnny Herbert in the champion 38 car. Pirro hoping, I'm sure, that there are no more cautions. The Panos, LMP1. Jan Magnussen had that car on the point the first half and more of this race. David Brabham now driving the 50. They were the winners at Portland a couple of weeks ago. They're third, but they're 45 seconds back, and they too will probably need another fuel stop.
And praying for a yellow flag at this point too. A yellow would have such a dramatic effect. It would close the field up, but the Panos desperately need that stop for fuel.
Now the GT battle, when we were with you at Sears Point a couple of weeks ago, you've got four essentially factory-backed BMWs, the white and blue cars, the Schnitzer machines, the 42 and the 43. And then you've got the two Tom Milner PTG entries, the 6 and the 10. Well, the 10 car, not much of a factor here. Bill Oberlin got wrecked yesterday in practice. He suffered a concussion. He's sitting out 7 days as per American Le Mans Series rules. This is your GT leader, Jörg Mueller, in the 42.
And it's very interesting. It's a real battle of ego between these two teams. Even though the cars look very, very similar, and they are. They basically designed, and all of the pieces are built by BMW in Europe. When Milner's team, when the PTG guys get these, they naturally modify them little tiny bits. And one place where you'll see it is on the very front end of the car, what they call the splitter. Down low on the nose piece. This car here has nothing extending out. Milner's car has a little carbon fiber tray coming out to try and give them a little more downforce. They all do their own little changes. So the ego between the teams is that they might say, well, yeah, our cars are kind of the same, but we want to beat you guys.
Mueller is 8th overall. Third in making second now in GT. Boris Said has taken over from Hans Stuck in Milner's 6 car. This is one of the PTG machines, and there's a tire difference as well. This team uses Yokohama.
That's right. This will give you a pretty graphic example of the difference in the front end of this car. You'll see the tray. It's difficult to look, but look how it extends forward. Just like a little pie wedge, something that comes forward to scoop the air up over the leading edge, just that little lip. Now, Milner's team felt aerodynamically this was what they wanted to do to achieve more downforce. The Euro team felt they didn't want it.
As we watch Said, one of the great GT racers in this country. He raced in the Trans Am Series event yesterday at Road America in Wisconsin. Talked to Boris this morning. He said, hey, I brought the bad weather with me. That race was red flag 4 laps short of the end due to rain. And it was raining here, of course, when he got here this morning. As we take a ride with the number 42, Jörg Mueller, taking over from J.J. Leto. They are 8th overall, the leaders in GT. They're ahead of Said, they're ahead of Dirk Mueller, they're ahead of Sasha Maassen. We'll be back.
Back on track, our number 7 BMW is now leading the GT category. So Boris Said.
How can you keep track of the latest in sports car racing? Monthly, with Le Mans and Sports Car Racer magazine. New from the publishers of F1 Racing and Autosport. Call 1-800-800-3921 to subscribe. It's the fastest way to keep track. Insightful columns, exclusive interviews, dazzling photography. Every month from Le Mans and Sports Car Racer magazine. New from the publishers of F1 Racing and Autosport. Call 1-800-800-3921 to subscribe. It's the fastest way to keep track.
The drama of NASCAR is on TNT.
Next weekend, NASCAR heads to Tennessee for a run at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Rusty Wallace goes for his 3rd win in 2 years at the world's fastest half mile. Friday night, Cat Rental presents NASCAR Busch Series Racing. Then Saturday night, catch Winston Cup in the Sharpie 500. See the race for the championship on TNT and NBC.
And we've got a huge Saturday for you here on NBC Sports next week. NBC's golf coverage returns Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern, right after our coverage of the American Le Mans Series. The 101st U.S. Amateur Championship from East Lake Country Club. It's in Atlanta, Georgia. Top amateur golfers in the world will tee it up. One of the most challenging, prestigious events in all of golf. Last year's event went 39 holes, 3 into overtime before it was decided. We'll walk in the footsteps of past champions like Arnold Palmer and Tiger Woods. We'll find out when we provide final round coverage of the U.S. Amateur Championship. Coverage begins Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern right here on NBC Sports.
That's a great one to watch, isn't it?
Absolutely.
They are exciting.
Players who play for the love of the game.
Yep.
We're watching racing for the love of the game here at Mosport International Raceway. Your leader in the Audi. Car number 2, that's Emanuele Pirro. He's got a 12.5-second lead over ex-Formula 1 star Johnny Herbert in the champion Audi.
And it appears that he's out to make a statement, too. He is lapping very, very fast, lapping in the range of 1 minute and 10 seconds, which is about the fastest we have seen in this entire race. He is really wailing around here right now, stretching out a little bit. Johnny Herbert is lapping about 0.9 of a second slower every lap, so the gap is actually growing.
About 33 minutes of action left. The clouds starting to gather here again at Mosport in the province of Ontario. Bruno Lambert is leading in the 675 prototypes. Now these are the lighter weight, lower horsepower open cockpit cars, the smaller brethren, if you will, of the prototype 900s. The 5 car, one of Dick Barber's machines. Well, they're 7th overall. Lambert, this is a strong team. He took over from Didier Radigues, who was very quick early.
Yeah, it's a very pretty car, too. It's a Reynard chassis. You see it little changes is where you notice the differences between the Riley and Scott car or the Audis. The wing on the back's a little lower. It's a non-turbo motor. This is a normally aspirated Judd engine. And the benefit they get is they do run a lighter weight. Instead of 900 kilos, it's 675 kilos. So a lot lighter, a lot better fuel mileage.
Let's get an update on the team situation on pit road. Down to Martin Hayden.
Well, what Bill Adams saying about the cars is right. There is a lower minimum weight class in the 675 category, but none of the cars yet run down that low. The Reynard chassis that's leading Didier Radigues, it's still a fairly heavy car, over 800 kilos, but you seem to be able to keep it out front in the class since the beginning of the race. Tell us about the conditions early on, though. It looked pretty dicey.
Yeah, it's true that we're not on the minimum weight yet, but even though the team did a wonderful job and I was up there to 2nd place, I really enjoy driving the car in the rain, and even after in the drive, the car was still very, very good. I made almost the same lap time that in qualify, and I had a lot of fun,
With slightly less weight and slightly less power, did that make it easy to stay on the pace of the 900s, or maybe a little easier?
Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe it makes. Well, I felt that was just better, but maybe you're right. Maybe it make it a little bit easier. Yeah, it's logical.
Well, guys, he's very self-effacing. The X500cc motorcycle ace clearly knows how to go quick in any weather.
He was very strong early on. De Radigues racing out of the Principality of Monaco.
Yeah, it was fun meeting him last year when he ran for. It ran with Mimo Scattarella in the one of the Riley and Scotts for a while. Just a great guy. As Martin pointed out, he was actually a world champion driving the 500cc class. So very, very talented driver.
Bruno Lambert, the Belgian, at the wheel of the 5. They've got a huge lead over the 2nd place machine, the 57, the other Barber car. Bill Caduno and John Graham, who spun twice early, looking for a 1-2 finish in the 675s here at Mosport International. Now, we told you at the top of the broadcast, this race has been dubbed the GT3 Grand Prix at Mosport. What, you might ask, is GT3? Well, it's a brand new racing game for the Sony PlayStation, the hottest game system in the world of computer games right now. And yesterday, And my partners in crime, Mr. Adam and Martin Haven, well, they elbowed aside some of the young fans here at Mosport to do battle at the PlayStation console.
Look, I love running up here and whatever it takes.
Now, Martin had you by about 6 inches. Looked like he was trying to post you up there, Bill.
He didn't understand the hockey moves. You know, you grew up in Canada, you learn elbows, you learn to put the hip into somebody, and if Martin happened to go off the track while I was doing it, that's one of the unfortunate parts of racing.
I thought he had the spray paint. He was going to paint over your part of the screen there for a while.
He also would love to win up here.
Absolutely. It is a lot of fun. We had a chance to sit in the trailer and try the game a couple of times yesterday.
They're so good, they're addictive.
Yeah, and I'm so bad at it that it doesn't much matter.
My 11-year-old daughter would just destroy me on that game, I'm sure.
Take a look at the Dyson prototype in the 900 category. This is Butch Leitzing at the wheel. They're 6th overall. And there is Herbert driving the 38, second by 11.8 seconds as the laps wind down here at Mosport. We're less than half an hour from the checkered flag. And the rain, I don't know, Bill, you were spot on when you said that we would have a dry, mostly dry day. We had wet weather early. It cleared off. We had some sun. Now the clouds are gathering again.
I predict good weather to the end of the race.
All right. There you hear it from meteorologist Bill Adam. Herbert is second in the 38. David Brabham third. Wayne Taylor, Christoph Tinso, the rest of the top 5. You're watching the American Le Mans Series on NBC Sports. We'll be back.
Now this same feeling is available in a car.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Introducing the all-new Mazda Protege 5.
Yeah, zoom, 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 zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Same feeling.
Zoom, zoom.
New form.
What is it about Le Mans that has made men love it for over 50 years? Maybe it's the big, beautiful eyes or the sexy voice that it speaks in. It could be all those incredible bodies. Of course, there are other attractions. Find out for yourself as the Audi Petit Le Mans comes to Road Atlanta, October 3rd through the 6th. Call 1-800-849-RACE.
Their excellence will be tested as the WNBA's elite teams battle for the league's ultimate prize on the road to the championship next Sunday on NBC.
Monday, you exercise, count calories, eat low fat, but still can't lose weight? You need to know what we found out. Don't miss NBC Nightly News Monday.
Hey, next Sunday, 12:30 Eastern Time, see the world's greatest outdoor adventurers put their bodies to the ultimate test. It's the Subaru Gorge Games here on NBC Sports, among the many dangerous and grueling events. Next Sunday, you'll see the athletes battle each other and nature in extreme kayaking, our producer Bill Herbstman's personal favorite, rock climbing and windsurfing. The Subaru Gorge Games are next Sunday, 12:30 Eastern Time, right here on NBC Sports.
I heard he emulated Spider-Man's antics on the rocks out there.
He is an expert with the ropes, we understand.
But thankfully, he's too old for that now.
We're thankful that he's in the other truck, just a few feet away from where we are.
It's about an hour away.
Emanuele Pirro leading in car number 2. It's been an uphill fight today for the Yost Audis. And Bill Adam, we don't say that very often because normally they are a dominant team in the American Le Mans Series. They've certainly had plenty of adversity here today.
I see one more little flaw developing. Look at on top of the fender, you're going to see something flapping. That's probably a little strip of rubber or maybe some tape that holds the fender apart. They have flashing the light saying to Porsche, would you mind moving? A lot of vents in the top of the fender to get rid of high pressure air that builds up. Just tape, I think. That's Pirro.
And it's been there for a while. I've noticed it for several laps.
But yes, it is unusual. This team is just, it's so well oiled. Reinhold Jost is a man that has made so many appearances at Le Mans. He has taken victories so many different times that it's wonderful. Oh, and what's this? That's the Panos was off.
David Brabham. David Brabham off course, finds a gear, gets back underway in the Panos, coming out of the front straightaway.
With the Viper. Look. No, I had to be a tangle under a passing maneuver, I'm sure. Yes, there had to be. Let's see, the car appears okay. I don't see anything hanging off. The wings look okay. Tires look okay.
Martin Haven, Brabham is back at pace, it appears. What's going on? And we'll get to Martin as soon as we're able to. Here comes Brabham.
Something I think we should take a look at here, Rick. Look at the leading edge of the car right there. You see a little flapping piece just on the left-hand side of the nose. If he hit the back of the Viper, if something is fractured in the front at very high speed, remember this car was doing over 190 miles an hour. The air force up there is tremendous. The pressure of that air could break up the nose of this car.
Brabham back on the throttle in the 50 car, still third. Let's take another look.
Well, this is coming into turn 9. Let's see as they come.
The Viper was crossed up.
No, and well, that wasn't really much of a contact at all.
We've got another look at it. Let's take a look from another camera position.
See, when the Viper gets loose under braking, so no, oh, gee, David was almost able to avoid that contact. That shouldn't create any problem for the car at all. He didn't even lose any little winglets on the headlight covers. See, they're still there, so that's fine.
The 44, the GTS Viper, being driven by Kevin Allen, but Brabham will bring the car onto pit road.
Probably just for a quick check, because he has to make that final stop for a splash of gas anyway. Smart move. Make a check now. Let the crew take a look at it. Get the splash of gas and get back out.
He was pointing, though, at the left front fender, Calvin Fish.
Well, the car is in. They're looking at the left front corner. They needed to come in anyway for fuel and top him up. They're checking the damage out first before they put the fuel in. So there's a slight damage to the left side of the car. The chief mechanic looks underneath there, and I think there may be something else wrong inside the wheel itself. So there's a bit of a delay. I'm not sure whether quicker or not. Now the wheel gun gets over. They pull that off. That might be the top wishbone or something where he clipped him, but minor damage to the bodywork, but there's something more wrong with the suspension, I would suspect.
That's got to be a heartbreaker for the Panos team. This car led more than the first half of the race today.
So much of it is luck in this sport. You're in the right place at the right time. On lap number 1, when we saw the Audi spin and took out the teammate of this car, Frank Lagorce. Really, Lagorce was doing nothing wrong. He tried to avoid contact. Now Brabham's running along, minding his own business when the Viper spins. This what looks like incidental contact, costing him a lot.
Starting to look as though the Panos win streak will end at 1 after Portland.
But good news, they are refueling it, so he's obviously going to rejoin the race.
Drop the car down off the jacks. A little splash of fuel. Brabham is down and away. He was third, a lap down to the leader, Pirro, but Pirro goes by. That will cost the 50 car another lap here at Mosport.
His chances of victory are effectively gone.
Pirro comfortably out in front, about 9 seconds ahead of Johnny Herbert. As the two Audis, the factory car and the privateer champion machine, are at the top of the leaderboard here at Mosport International. Closing in on 100 laps on the board this afternoon. About 22 minutes worth of racing to go. We'll be back with more of the American Le Mans Series GT3 Grand Prix at Mosport after these words from our local station.
I don't mind being the center of attention. And I know in this business, no matter how good you are, it always comes down to one thing. Your body.
Jill Hennessy is medical examiner Dr. Jordan Kavanaugh in Crossing Jordan, coming to NBC Mondays.
Back at Mosport International Raceway, coverage of the Gran Turismo 3 Grand Prix at Mosport. I'm Rick Benjamin with Bill Adam, Martin Haven, and Calvin Fisher on pit road. Emanuele Pirro out in front with 100 laps complete. Comfortable lead for Pirro. And Bill Adam, this is building up to be a great day for this team in the 2-car. They finished second 4 straight times in the 2001 season in American Le Mans action. Haven't been to victory lane yet. It's been the 1 car that's been the dominant machine.
They have done a very smart job today. They didn't worry about their teammate being taken out of the race or not even running in first place until very, very late in this race. But I think they've taken advantages of the strengths of the team, knowing exactly how far you can go. They've taken certainly advantage of some of the bad luck from some of their competitors, but boy, they look strong.
8 seconds the lead over Herbert. Now at GTS, the big bore GT cars, there's quite a battle developing. This is Johnny O'Connell from Flowery Branch, Georgia, sharing the 3-car, the Goodwrench Corvette, with Ron Fellows. They're 8th overall. They're the leaders. You see that body damage. Fellows went off course earlier when the track was drying, knocked the left rear corner off the car. Hasn't affected him much. But Terry Borcheller in the Celine is closing in. He's 10 seconds back. Bill, they've got about 20 minutes of racing left. What do you think?
It's really tough. I mean, right now, what Johnny has to do is continue to run as hard as he wants. He would love the luxury being able to just sit back and drive at a slow pace, but he has to keep pushing.
There's a little bit of damage on the back body work, too. You can see a gap there between where the door panel would be and where the back deck lid is, although it seems to be firmly attached.
That has lifted out quite a bit.
Now, Ron Fellows, the hometown hero here. He's from Mississauga, Ontario, not very far away at all from Mosport. He started the car today and did a great job, as always. Let's check in with Calvin Fish.
Ron, you debuted the car here a year ago. You came so close to victory here against the Vipers. 1 year down the road, you got a lead. Can Johnny hold on to it this afternoon?
Yeah, the gap's sort of maintaining. It's tough. Terry Borchiller is pretty quick. Johnny's doing a great job. We're all kind of looking at the skies, though. It could rain again. Good fun first couple hours. That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Tell us about the problems you had there in turn 3.
Yeah, just one of the BMWs got off the road and 2 kept his foot and came back on the road and forced me off. I mean, it's partially my fault for trying to, stay there. I probably should have just backed right off and let him go sailing off. But anyway, it's obviously the Corvette's pretty strong because I did hit the tail and the car was a little bit looser after that, but it seemed to be pretty fast.
I'm sure the hometown fans would like to see Ronnie win here, but let's check in on the Celine situation with Martin Haven.
Down in the pit with Franz Conrad. Franz, it's been a tough battle between yourself and the number 3 Corvette, but right at the moment it looks as though Celine is a little bit closer. You've got 11 seconds and 20 minutes to go. Do you think you can do it?
In the moment, looks like yes. There is very fast outside now. He do about a second and a half. He pick up the last 5 laps. So when he can do this, continue with this, pick him up. It's a good chance of even Cornell will be not easy to overtake.
Very close finish in GTS last year. Looks like you're going to make it as close again this year.
Yeah, it's a good competition and was a fun race outside. I take a little bit carefully in the beginning on the wet, and then we had a good race with the number 4 car, so I'm really happy.
So Franz done his duty for the day, but I'm sure he doesn't want to go back to those Goodyear wets. He wants to stay dry on slicks till the end.
As we watch Terry Borchiller out of Phoenix, great guy. Always enjoy watching Borchiller work behind the wheel.
I remember a great memory of Franz Conrad out of Adelaide last year, the final race of the year, and he came second with their Lola in the ALMS 900 class. Never seen that man smile quite that wide. They had a privateer effort to second place and such a wonderful race.
Borchiller second, and that's the lead in GTS. He's 9th overall. Johnny O'Connell in the Corvette number 3. Remember, O'Connell took overall victory honors here 2 years ago, driving for the Panos team in one of those LMP1s. Johnny O, a member of the Panos team for quite some time when they debuted in American Le Mans Series competition. But Emanuele Pirro continues to lead in car number 2. Johnny Herbert just 6 seconds back now in the Champion 38 car, so the lead is shrinking just a bit. But we've got just a handful of minutes to go. You're watching coverage of the American Le Mans Series GT3 Grand Prix at Mosport on NBC Sports. We'll be back.
I remember 20 years ago how they turned the racing world upside down. First by introducing a race car with quattro all-wheel drive, and second by having a woman drive it.
Chateau Elan Hotels and Resorts, the subtle difference of excellence.
For Bobby Jones, Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, and Tiger Woods, it was a springboard to fame. Who will follow the U.S. Amateur Championship next Saturday, 4 Eastern.
Next Saturday, the world's most exotic sports cars tackle Mid-Ohio for the first time. The American Le Mans Series Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio. Next Saturday, 2 Eastern, NBC.
Welcome back to Mosport International Raceway here on NBC Sports. Trouble for the second place team. The champion Audi, Johnny Herbert, has stuffed it into the wall at the bottom of the hill coming off turn 2.
Unbelievable. We talked early. This corner is infamous. The car is really badly damaged. That had to be a huge impact. Earlier, we watched telemetry showing these cars cresting this hill at 145 miles an hour. It is one corner that was termed by Jackie Stewart, an old world champion, as the most difficult, the most dangerous corner in the world. It is hugely important.
So Herbert is out of the race car. He's over the wall talking to the safety crew. I'm sure there's a local caution being shown there, although no full course yellow at the moment. So Piro's lone challenger. Now Herbert had gotten the lead of Piro down to about 2.2 seconds just moments before that wreck. That is at one of the higher speed points on the racetrack, as Bill Adam was explaining.
It's such a wild corner. It's a very intimidating corner too, because as you approach it, you're totally blind. You can't see where you want to go, and you really have to make a double apex out of it. You're in tight. Now he's holding up his hand, just warning other drivers he's going to be slowing down here. There's double yellow out for pace car. They've got to get that champion car out of there, because if somebody else were to go off, they would run into the back of that car instead of running into the tires, which would cushion an impact.
So full course yellow.
Oh man, how disappointing for the champion guys after a great run.
Fourth full course caution of the day here at Mosport International Raceway. Great turnout of fans here at Mosport. It's really been heartwarming for all who love road racing to see the number of folks who've come out here. Kind of like the old days at Mosport.
It is.
Formula One was the featured attraction here for many
There's
years.
the top of turn 2, and you can see the Audi embedded in the wall right there. So that had to be a 140-mile-an-hour impact.
Quick look from David Brabham's viewpoint. He'll move back to second in the 50 car.
That's a heartbreak.
And folks, that's probably a couple of $100,000 worth of damage to a pretty expensive race car.
I think so.
The GT3 Grand Prix at Mosport. Our coverage of the American Le Mans Series will continue in a moment here on NBC Sports.
The Pay-Nose Racing School at Road Atlanta, Sebring, and coming to Texas Motor Speedway. 1-888-282-GTRA.
Our NBC Sports coverage of the American Le Mans Series GT3 Grand Prix at Mosport is being brought to you by Porsche. Discover what only Porsche brings to driving. Back at Mosport, the 38 car, Johnny Herbert out of the cockpit. Wrecker there to tow the machine, hopefully behind one of the gaps in the retaining wall here at Mosport. There's Johnny Herbert taking a look, explaining to one of the safety workers what happened. His teammate Andy Wallace, who did a marvelous job during the first half of action here today. Wallace just looking on at the monitors on the computer, knows his chances of a podium finish, maybe a victory, are certainly gone here this afternoon.
This is just so disheartening for a team to come so close, and they were all watching the car get closer and closer and thinking, yes, there's still a chance that even though they have the better motor, the engine that gets better fuel economy, we are closing on them, and with the race winding down, we've got a chance. Well, for that to suddenly be grasped out of your control, it's just like somebody grabbing your heart and pulling it out. It just takes all of the air out of your sails. Disheartening.
Team owner Dave Marish couldn't see him in that camera shot. You know, he's extremely disappointed. He's gone to great lengths to make this team competitive and on the same footing pretty much with the factory Audis and with the Pay-Nose team.
Yeah, Dave Mirage is, without question, he's the nicest owner I ever drove for. He's really a wonderful man. He's very there is Dave there, and I guarantee you right now that he won't be thinking about his own disappointment. He'll be wondering what he can do to console the team. He's just that sort of person. And that's the thing that takes a team like Champion that'll turn them around. It gives everybody impetus to work hard to get their backup car ready for next week. You want to try hard for a man like that.
Remember, these teams do battle again in 6 days, Saturday at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio. And we'll be there on NBC Sports, live coverage at 2 o'clock Eastern next Saturday afternoon, the Grand Prix of Ohio. Field under caution, fourth time today that the safety car has come out. Of course, weather was a problem in the early part of the event today. We had hard rain this morning. It started to ease up by the time the green fell, but the track was very, very wet. A couple of cars went off. The clouds have gathered here once again. Emanuele Piro continues to lead. And let's find out about the GTS Corvette that's out in front, the 3-car. Calvin Fisher, are they having a problem?
Well, there's no problem as such. Johnny O'Connell was just looking at the clouds, talking about rain tires, and as they did so, when that caution period came out, they caught a huge break because the leader of the race was between Johnny and the Saleen. So Johnny just got waved around and essentially made a whole lap up on the Saleen car. So this can happen when you got the lower classes getting intermingled with the overall leader of the race. Let's go down to Martin.
Franz Conrad's a very disappointed looking man. With 20 minutes to go, he was closing on the GTS lead. 10 minutes to go, a safety car should have closed up that lead battle. But as Calvin has just said, the Saleen was right behind the Audi, so they lost effectively a whole lap and the chance of winning it.
So it appears that this late caution involving Johnny Herbert may have effectively ended the chance of a battle to the finish in GTS, but in prototype, David Brabham will close up on the back end of Emanuele Pirro. We'll be back.
Ah, the usual, gentlemen?
Well, perhaps for Emmett, but I'll be having tea. Well, I'm the designated driver.
Not so quick, friend. I'll be having the tea, as I'm to be the driver.
Deny yourself if you like, but I'll be a driving.
Boxster. What only a Porsche brings to driving.
What is it about Le Mans that has made men love it for over 50 years? Maybe it's the big, beautiful eyes or the sexy voice that it speaks in. It could be all those incredible bodies. Of course, there are other attractions. Find out for yourself as the American Le Mans Series comes to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, Saturday, August 25th. Call 1-800-MID-OHIO.
The drama of NASCAR is on TNT.
Friday night, watch Busch Series racing at 8. Then Saturday night, see Winston Cup and the Sharpie 500. A race for the championships on TNT and NBC.
The top player in the world, Gustavo Kuerten, meets two-time U.S. Open winner Patrick Rafter in the RCA Championships Final. Coming up next on NBC.
Back at Mosport International Raceway here on NBC Sports. Rick Benjamin with Bill Adam, Martin Haven, Calvin Fish on pit road. Just a handful of minutes remaining here this afternoon in the GT3 Grand Prix at Mosport. Pirro is your leader. Brabham will restart in second. Tinceau in one of the Cadillacs and Wayne Taylor in the other. The 7 and 8 cars are run very well here today. Now Pirro in the 2 cars, first in line. Brabham running second, will not be next in line because they're under full course caution. And we should remind you that Brabham lost a couple of laps on pit road with that unscheduled stop after the contact with a Viper several minutes ago. He had to come to pit road. They had to take a look at the left front corner of the car, make a minor repair. So Brabham is certainly not in position to close up on the 2 car and challenge him for the lead here with about 7 minutes of racing left. There's your Porsche running order, top left of the screen. It is Pirro out in front. Brabham in the 50 moves to second. And then you've got the 2 Cadillacs. And Bill, those Cadillac machines have done a great job here today.
Yeah, credit to these guys. Not only the drivers, but the engineers, the whole team. They have never, ever stopped working on these cars. And every time they appear, they just get stronger and stronger. We just saw one of the better battles in ALMS history, I think, today between Max Angelelli and, oh boy, big burst of smoke off the tires there as Taylor tried to get in very deep.
Butch Leitzinger is right behind him, and this is for position according to timing and scoring. Leitzinger 5th, Taylor 4th. This was the battle for 4th not very long ago.
Yeah, between the 2 drivers, we had heard earlier that Wayne Taylor was not particularly happy with the way the Cadillac was handling. They were saying that it was very loose. Angelelli, on the other hand, his teammate, loved it. He didn't mind the car getting sideways and driving it sideways. So 2 distinctly different styles, and I think that shows. Look at this, here's an outside pass. Oh boy.
Taylor able to close the door on Leitzinger. Final corner here, turn 10. This is for 4th.
Leitzinger being very, very aggressive in this. Riley and Scott. Now the Cadillac, keep in mind, a twin turbo motor. The white car on your screen, that's a normally aspirated, which is fuel injected, big Ford V8. So different styles.
And remember, too, the Cadillacs were built originally by Riley and Scott. The white car there is the latest Riley and Scott. Here's Leitzinger around Taylor for 4th spot.
Oh, that's it. That's the award in the race for bravery. Right on that one. I have never seen anybody pass successfully on the outside of turn 2.
Showing you how much grip those Goodyears have late in the race. So Leitzinger takes the 16 back to 4th around Wayne Taylor and starts to drive away from him. Great move by the State College.
He's off.
He's going off the racetrack.
He went in way too deep there. Absolutely impossible. Now he's going to spin again.
Oh, and Butch hits the tires for the second time today.
Be patient with the gas pedal, Butch.
He got to fourth. We understand some rain is starting to fall on pit road. Now, this could scramble things up. Remember, all these cars are on slick tires as we have 4 minutes of racing to go.
That is just frustrating for Butch Leitzinger. Here he is. He's passing right now. He's going to set up. This is coming out of turn 1. Goes to the outside. Keep in mind, this is 140 miles an hour right there. The car wants to go outside, and he deliberately takes it out wide.
I'm sure Wayne Taylor looked over and said, okay, if you want it that badly, well, I'll give you room.
Boy, I'd give him the whole house, not just room. That was amazing. But Butch made a little error down at Moss Corner, and now he's going to be very careful, just making sure this car is going to work okay. It appears that, again, the winglets, even up on the corner, are okay, but there's things coming off. He's waving traffic by.
He's got a problem. There was some smoke showing, you may have seen, as they came out of turn 10. He's on the brakes there at the end of turn 1. A couple of the GT cars go by the 16. So Leitzinger, who got into fourth, overcooked it.
Yeah, I think he sees the fender flapping there. He doesn't want to take a chance of going at really high speed where it would totally delaminate. Pieces could potentially fly off. He is still running a strong 5th place right now, so he doesn't want to throw away 5th place totally.
And Leitzinger is a lap to the good over Bruno Lambert in the number 5 Dick Barber machine, which is leading in the 675 prototype category. They're 6th. So Butch just hangs on. There's only 3 minutes of racing left, Bill.
I think that's all he wants to do is just to keep circulating around the track. That's a bit of a heartbreak after such a great pass.
One of the GTS Vipers there in front of one of the GT BMWs. Your leader, the 42 car, Jörg Mueller, at that wheel of that machine. And he goes by that Viper. Now that shows you how strong those V8 M3 BMWs are.
These are wonderful cars. Boy, they are just beautiful little pieces of work. They have taken advantage of a loophole. I think maybe the first one's submitted too, but certainly if there's something in the rules or if there isn't something in the rules, you try and take advantage to the nth degree of it, and they have done that. These are beautiful race cars, and I think everybody is envious of the way they've been set up, the way they go in a straight line, the way they handle, and maybe typical of what the Audis do as well is that they are so good over bumps, both turning into corners and applying power. They are particularly strong doing that, so that seems to be a German trademark. In fact, you know what? I noticed it last week. I was telling you I had the luxury of driving an A6 Audi, trying one of those for a while. It was just such a wonderful car to drive. You get out of that car and you get into an American car, and there is a difference between the German philosophy on shock absorbers and springs to American cars. They're wonderful.
We're watching the Schnitzer M3 car circulate at the head of the class at GT. Our scoring monitor was telling us that Jörg Mueller was driving, but we understand it is J.J. Leto in the car right now. Here's Pirro with 113 laps on the scoreboard. Should be the last time around, or he should be getting the white flag next time by.
He's pretty close, and he's slowed down a few seconds a lap, where before he had been running down in the 111 range. He's now 114, so he's just backed off a little bit. He's probably short shifting, not going quite up to the maximum revs, and being very careful in turn, and he will make all of his passes very cautious ones.
David Brabham second in the Panos, the 50 car, 2 laps down. Christoph Tinso is third in one of the Cadillacs, the 7 car. He's another lap back. Then you have Wayne Taylor in the other caddy, the 8 car, on the same lap with his teammate Tinso. So Cadillac in position to score a 3rd and 4th overall here. And then Butch Leitzinger picking his way around the course very slowly, and Rob Dyson's Riley and Scott Ford. They're calling that engine a Lincoln, but it is one of the motors that they use from Lozano Brothers down in San Antonio, that they use in their other Riley and Scotts that race in the Grand Am Series. Here comes the Brabham machine, the Panos, 2nd overall. This is the car that led so much of the race early with Jan Magnussen at the wheel.
When these fellas go out tonight to have a cold drink after all this is done, they're all going to talk about if only we had got that pit stop done under yellow flag, how different might it have been.
White flag in the air for your leader, Pirro, in car number 2. Last time around this 2.45-mile racetrack.
This has not been one of their prettier victories, but it certainly has shown the strength of their team. They have done everything they had to do. They have had no mistakes at all, and they have exercised patience. A little flash of the headlights there is warning a slower car. Just beautiful, smooth, fluid driving.
Pirro and Frank Biela, who started this car, and they will break the streak here that they have going for their team in the 2 car. Winless in ALMS competition coming into the weekend after 4 starts. This will be their first victory in 2001. Last year, they scored 3 wins in Las Vegas and Texas, and at the 12 Hours of Sebring, one of the great road races in the world. It'll be the 4th career victory in ALMS action for Pirro and Biela, but their first this year.
Frank Biela coming over from touring car racing back in Europe. He was one of the very successful ones. Was given a chance by Audi to move up into the larger cars, the more powerful cars. Has just paid off big dividends. What a gorgeous car that is.
Reinhold Jost's team will collect their 4th win of 2001 if Pirro can bring that car just the last couple of 100 yards here at Mosport. Here he comes down the front straightaway, fist in the air. The Audi team on the wall to congratulate their driver. Emanuele Pirro and Frank Biela are the winners here at Mosport International Raceway. David Brabham will work to bring the 50 car. The Paynos home in 2nd spot. Tinso in the 7 car will get credit for 3rd. There's Taylor in the 8. Pirro waving to the fans. Huge strong here on hand this weekend at Mosport. And there is your 675 prototype leader and winner, Bruno Lambert, for the Dick Barber team. Teaming with Didier de Radigas here this weekend, and they win the LMP category, the LMP 675s, and finish 6th overall. GTS, it looks like it will go to the Corvette, the 3 car. That's the team machine, the number 4. Being driven by Andy Pilgrim. They are 9th overall. Johnny O'Connell and Ron Fellows will win GTS in the Goodwrench number 3, and there's that machine. Despite Fellows' off-course trip in that race car.
Yeah. As he pointed out, that is one strong race car, and these guys have done a great job. Up against the wall for them, too. You see the yellow hands flying out the side saying, good job, Ron. Ron Fellows is just having the dream season that we all dream about. Winning the Daytona 24, winning Le Mans. I mean,
they had an overall win at Daytona.
Yeah,
and the GTS win at Le Mans. Won a NASCAR Busch Series race at Watkins Glen again this year.
What a driver. Good job, Ronnie. And Johnny O'Connell. What a nice drive for him. Johnny was with Paynos, as you had mentioned earlier, and was let go. Didn't really know what he was going to do. Picked up by Chevrolet. And what a team up this has been.
It's been a dream team, certainly, in that 3 car. JJ Leto and Jörg Mueller win GT in the Schnitzer BMW M3. 42 car will finish 10th overall.
So Team Europe BMW beats Team America BMW in this particular weekend.
Now we need to get the Yanks busy before next week at Mid-Ohio.
Mr. Milner will be ready.
So Pirro and Biela are your winners. Brabham and Magnussen come home in 2nd. Tinso and Collard are 3rd. Taylor and Max Angelilli finish 4th. And then the Leitzinger-Weaver group and the Dyson machine 5th. As we show you your top 10 here at Mosport International Raceway. Show you the next group of cars, 11th through 20th. Dirk Mueller and Frederick Ekblom finish 11th. Boris Said and Hans Stuck come 12th overall. In GT, Sasha Masson and Lucas Luhr 13th overall. And the final 6 cars in the field. Several of those cars wrecked early on here today at Mosport. We'll be back in a moment to wrap up our coverage of the American Le Mans Series, the GT3 Grand Prix at Mosport. First, though, let's go to Hannah Storm in New York at the Sun America Sports Desk. Welcome back to Mosport, the American Le Mans Series here on NBC Sports. Emanuele Pirro and Frank Biela are your winners as we take a look at the overall top 10. 5 prototypes up front, then a 675 car, 3 GTS machines, and the GT BMW of Leto and Mueller. Let's talk to the winners. Down to Martin Hayden.
Only 1 win so far this year for Emanuele Pirro and Frank Biela. All right, it was at Le Mans, but it must be nice to win here in America.
Most definitely. I mean, Le Mans, it's a great race, and I wouldn't switch it to any other race. But it's very good to win here because we've been very close in quite a few occasions and we had bad luck. So it's good to be first, especially after a tough race.
Tough race with the champion car. They got very close.
They got very close, but to be honest, the situation was quite under control. Johnny was taking a lot of risks with the slower cars, and I'm not prepared to do so. I was a little bit more conservative, so it was gaining on him, and then he was gaining on me on overtakings, but as you could see, the strategy paid off.
Well, Emanuele Pirro, a little bit of conservatism kept him in the lead right the way to the checker.
Bill, you can be conservative when you have superior equipment.
That's exactly right. If you do have the benefit of horsepower or mileage or whatever, you can't afford to drive to a different schedule, and that's what he did. I mean, they really did follow their team orders, using the strengths they had and minimizing weaknesses.
Now here are your BMW GT category results. Leto and Mueller the winners. Dirk Mueller, Frederick Ekblom finished 2nd for the Schnitzer team. Then one of the Milner cars, the other BMW team, that's Boris Said and Hans Stuck. They come home in 3rd. First Porsche The 23 car, one of the Alex Job machines for Masson and Lure. Burgess and Willinder finish in 5th spot. Let's find out more about the GT results today to Calvin Fish.
Jorg Mueller and JJ Lehto came so close to the overall win last year. Jorg, you finally got a little bit of payback here at Mosport today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy. You know, we had at least we had a good car in the race. We were struggling a whole weekend somehow with our setup. You know, it's like 2 races ago. Somehow we get it sorted, and you know, we saved the tires, so the car stayed quite consistent. I'm happy. You know, JJ did a fantastic job at the start and at the end. So good car, good baby.
JJ, the flying Finn, you love the rain. Great opening stint there.
Yeah, it was okay, you know. I mean, we did some work for the rain setup in the morning, and, you know, the car was better. It wasn't completely set it up for the dry weather, so it was a bit of a compromise. But, you know, I got a good start, you know. I just kept out of trouble and, you know, just run through the field, you know. So it was a good run, you know. I was happy to see myself, you know, in the 2nd place and just catching up the 1st one. So that was a good time to change the driver.
Big win, big points in the championship. Let's get to the GTS winner in Martin.
Yeah, down here, Johnny O'Connell talking to the press. Ron Fellows celebrating with his Canadian countryman. Ron, last year, a couple of licks of paint would have seen you the winner in GTS. It nearly got that close again this year.
Well, if you have a look at that Corvette, that is a strong car. Pratt Miller guys have built a very strong car. We got a little unfortunate, got tangled up with one of the BMWs, got off in 3, and boy, as soon as I hit the grass, the car just took off, and I thought we were done, but the car had a little bit more oversteer after that, but it was still pretty fast. And Johnny did a great job holding off Terry. Again, great pit strategy. And want to thank all the people for coming. This is not a kind of lousy day weather-wise, but again, just a great win. I'm so happy to win here at Mosport.
Well, there'll be lots of people happy to see Ron Fellows win here as well. As he said, a huge crowd from Friday. And Johnny O'Connell right towards the end there, he was closing you down, but you had the lead. Maybe without the safety car, you'd have got in anyway.
You know, I was just really more or less keeping a gap. If Terry was pushing hard, then I started pushing hard. I think we were really, you know, we were dead even lap times. It all really depended how traffic went. We had the lead, so I wasn't going as psychotic as I'm sure he was. But, you know, the Goodyear tires were awesome today, and which I think is why you saw the Conrad team probably, you know, certainly start on the Goodyear range. And but, you know, this Corvette's an awesome car. The team's fabulous. You know, it's nice we can keep the streak going if we can.
So Corvette win here at Mosport, where we started last year with that narrow GTS loss. Back upstairs, guys.
4th series win for that Corvette team, and it'll be a short week for that team. They've got a lot of work to do to get that 3-car ready for next Saturday.
I'm sure they're looking forward to it already. It's interesting. The one key thing that I'm listening from every victor so far is that they didn't take chances.
Yeah. And with wet conditions such as we had in the first half here at Mosport today, that was critical.
You heard Lehto talk about he just went out and did what he had to do, didn't take any risks. In fact, they've all done this. The Audi, the winning Audi between Emanuele Pirro, he's saying the same thing. So that's a key to victory.
Fans have really enjoyed themselves here today. We'll enjoy being with you a couple of more times here on NBC this year. Next Saturday, the Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio. And then, of course, September 9th, we'll be out at beautiful Laguna Seca in Monterey.
Can't wait for that one.
Some great action still to come. Of course, the Petite Le Mans and then the Le Mans Race of Champions. The European teams and the teams we see in the ALMS will meet at Sepang Circuit in Malaysia. That'll be in November. Some calisthenics for the Audi Sport team, it looks like, up on the podium.
There, you finish your 3-hour race and you got enough energy. You got to go bounce up and down and just full of emotion at this point. This is fun. I've stood over there and I've felt the emotion of winning here at this track. It is so special. The Canadian fans, they love to show their appreciation of motorsport. I mean, they're just huge motorsport fans.
And next Saturday, we'll be pleased to be with you from Mid-Ohio, one of the great sports car courses in North America as well. A little slower speed. It'll be a different challenge for the teams next Saturday.
Yes, it will. Although the one thing that I'm a bit worried about is that if anything, it may benefit the Audi team even more. Really? Because that's a track that has very fluid medium speed corners, quick lefts, quick rights. And it benefits a car like an Audi. The Panos really got their strength at Portland from the long straights, from the slow corners digging out onto the long straights. They could use all of the torque and all the acceleration. Ah, the guy's having a hot dog. They come out of the track and they could just use the massive power of that big Ford engine. So at Mid-Ohio, I keep my fingers crossed for them.
There's only one straightaway of any length at Mid-Ohio, the backstretch. They start the race from that straightaway. But it'll be interesting, and we're looking forward to being there for you. Be sure to join NBC Sports Saturday, 2 o'clock Eastern. Our American Le Mans Series coverage continues with the Grand Prix of Mid-Ohio from Lexington, Ohio. Next up on NBC Sports, tennis on deck. The finals of the RCA Championships from Indianapolis. Patrick Rafter and Gustavo Curtin will take on one another in that great match. For Bill Adam, Martin Haven, and Calvin Fish, I'm Rick Benjamin saying so long from Mosport International Raceway right here in Ontario, Canada. Congratulating the overall winners, Emanuele Puro and Frank Biela and the Yost Audi Sport team. You've been watching the American Le Mans Series on NBC. We'll talk to you next Saturday afternoon from Mid-Ohio.